Hi there, welcome to our series of MG ALBA Scots Trad Music Awards 2022 sponsor chats. Today we are speaking to Fiona Campbell from the Kitty Finlayson Scots Singer of the Year sponsor, Traditional Music and Song Association of Scotland. How's it going, Fiona?
It's going great. It's a nice sunny day for today.
I know. Let's hope it lasts. So, tell us about the Traditional Music and Song Association of Scotland, and what do you do?
Right, well, the TMSA, or Traditional Music and Song Association of Scotland, depending on how much you want to say lots of words in one go, was set up in 1966 after the first Blairgowrie Folk Festival, as a way to keep that particular festival going and also to enjoy the folk revival that was happening at the time and bring sort of activities and local activity as well as also national activity to the main scene. And so it's been going for well over 50 years now. I haven't been involved all that time, but there are some people who are still around. For our member number one, Pete Shepherd, is still with us, so that's great. And we've got lots of others who are still around. But the idea is that there's a national aspect to the activity as well as also the local branches. Some of the local branch activity may be fairly well known to people, like Keith Branch do the Keith Festival. Kirriemuir Festival is run by the Angus branch, and there's a great amount of activity that happens up around Aberdeen through the Aberdeen branch, from Doric concerts through to competitions through to working with SCAT, which is a local organisation delivering classes. We have the Northern Streams down in Edinburgh and Lothians, and a Muckle Sing as well, and also Glasgow have been branching out into shanty days in the Oban and Glasgow, and also their ever popular Sing or Sink cruise. Don't worry, if you're that bad, they do not throw you off the ship. But some of those things have been curtailed with COVID, so it's good to see a lot of these things have either happened in some form, either over the pandemic online or now back in person in this year. And also we're looking forward to next year when we hope to have our TMSA event calendar out, which involves not just events but also lots of activity around like folk clubs and sessions out in print, but also we've got the online listings that have been running throughout and our social media. So if you've got anything you'd like to put into it, let me know as soon as possible.
Amazing. Well, also, if people want to find out all about this, they can go to tmsa.scot. It's important. There's lots of information there and some great pictures on the homepage as well. It's always really good to see.
One have you in it, is it, Simon?
From when I had hair.
Yeah.
So, who is the target market for Scots song, would you say?
Well, Scots song. Well, obviously we cover more than just the song, the music as well, and also obviously there's other organisations that deal with other aspects of it. The target for Scots song, I think, is anyone who is interested in the heritage of Scotland, history of Scotland, because a lot of the songs like the Bothy ballads and the Border ballads, for example, carry a lot of information about the common folk, about the working practices or the working conditions, particularly, as a popular subject matter. And I think it's important for, I'd go further and say the world, because people may realise I don't have a Scottish accent. I'm part of the diaspora, come back home to Scotland, and I think that whole richness of culture and different languages must be preserved so people can enjoy it within the country, but also out with the country, and alongside with the Gaelic side of culture and traditions. I mean, it's all a very important part of the fabric of our heritage as well as also the world's. And if I may say, the diaspora only is so successful if the roots are nourished in Scotland. And also, of course, there is also an English tradition, you might say, of singing as well. So we're quite fortunate. We're quite trilingual, you might say, in this country.
Definitely, Scotland is a three-language society. It most definitely is. And we just need parity on all fronts.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I think it's really important that we value everything that we have, and also, obviously, how things are coming and changing with our newer arrivals, and also people who've been here for a while, who've been influencing the traditions and the...
Absolutely. New Scots are just as important. So tell me this, I never asked you this question before, so obviously your surname is Campbell.
Aye.
How far, who from your family came from Scotland?
Well, actually, my mother came from Edinburgh. I've got quite a good genealogy, and my grandmother on her side came from the Gorbals in Glasgow.
I see.
Well, I think maybe the next generation back. And my grandfather, sorry, should I say, he actually came from the area of the Lauders. He is a Lauder from Whitekirk and East Lothian, which of course is the area sort of going up from Lauderdale. And the Lauders, you may know, were actually the family that looked after Bass Rock, and Tantallon Castle was their clan seat. So, I know a lot about my mum's family and that side of thing, but my dad, he was born in New Zealand, but his father comes from the Bridge of Allen area. And my mother grandmother was born in New Zealand, but actually there's a little bit of a mix of Scottish and also a little bit of Manchester apparently in that going on. So and apparently there's a link eventually back through some McCartneys through Liverpool apparently or that area to Ireland. So you never know. And also I've got a little bit of Orkney, a little bit of Perth and Kinross, Argyll, so I'm quite a mongrel Scot.
Absolutely.
Credibility, hopefully.
Oh, that's amazing. And is that where you find that the need for your step dancing?
Well, actually, step dancing, I only really came across it when I got to Scotland back in, a little while ago in the mid-90s. And I grew up doing Scottish country dancing because my mum teaches it, and she still teaches a club in Wellington, New Zealand, called the Seatoon Scottish Country Dance Club. And so I learned all the Scottish aspect and singing, and she played the classic and the fiddle and the piano and all this kind of thing. So I was brought up with a rather Scottish cultural background, as well as also the joy of the multicultural nature of New Zealand. But also I did tap dancing. And so if you put those two together, I think you get the elements that you need to know about the hard shoe form of dancing, which of course was preserved a lot in the Cape Breton area or island in Nova Scotia. And there's also other variants of the hard shoe tradition from the Scottish and also mixing in with the Irish side of things. So I've actually also done Irish dancing as well. So I think I like making noise with my feet. But in time with music is always important. And I've also enjoyed passing that on to people by teaching it as well at the same time.
Well, of course, actually. So I'm asking all these questions, but so why did you come back here then? Did you want to reconnect, or was it work, or?
Well, actually, I didn't come back. I was born in New Zealand.
Of course, yeah.
But I came back actually to study in a master's in cultural policy and management, because there was not an opportunity to do that kind of study in New Zealand at that level. The nearest was Australia, then there was possibly America, also the US, and then there was a couple of options in Scotland, and it did help by the fact that my mother still owns a house here in Edinburgh, and also it's one of the cultural centres of the world, isn't it, with the festivals and a lot of the other activity, and of course there's also the whole heritage aspect as well. I have to be honest, I came for about 2 years and I'm still here, so I've never spotted. And also obviously enjoyed getting involved more in the traditional folk scene. So yeah, I do have
we'll have to say we're very lucky to have you back.
Thank you. The genes have come back, but maybe.
Oh, absolutely. So tell us this. So going back to TMSA, which of course is TMSA.Scot, so it floats in. What's the ambitions for next year? You were talking about the event calendar coming back. That's all very exciting.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned, some of the programme that was managed to run in some form or another over the sort of COVID years, but also some of it wasn't really able to run until this year. Like, for example, Kiri came back in person this year, which was great. Sorry, Kiri Muir Festival, for those who are not used to the abbreviation. But I think there's going to be a much more fuller programme. I mean, I know Aberdeen branch have got a lot more things up their sleeve, and also they've been working with Keith branch on a radio programme, which if you go to the Aberdeen or Keith branch TMSA Facebook pages, you can actually find out the details of when each new programme is coming out, which is great because they're featuring a lot of the sort of Scots and heritage of the local area. So, but I mean, so a lot of the other stuff that we've talked about, I mean, they're going to be running the Gaelogi Ceilidh this weekend, which of course will be the weekend after, weekend before the Trade Music Awards. And also, obviously, we would want to continue sponsoring the Scots Trade Music Awards. One of the other big projects that we're looking to get back started after having issues about not being able to run it is bringing together the winners and finalists of the Young Trad Musician of the Year Award, sponsored by BBC Scotland and organised by yourself in many stages. To sort of bring them together as a group, so they're not a band already. They're quite a disparate group. But some of them know each other, and we take them out around the country to their hometowns. We record them, so we record that for posterity. But because of the delays of COVID, the 2020 group and the 2021 group are particularly the ones that we want to make sure get an opportunity to do that part of that project. The 2019 group just managed to record like literally about a week before the lockdown happened, and we were able to do some performance video with them. But then we also do have the 2022 and also the 2023 on the way, so we need to sort of catch up a little, but we want to make sure everyone gets their chance in the sun, shall we say. As some people may know, the TMSA has taken over the running of the Highland Music Trust, which was started up by Eric and Helen Allen and other people who came to join them later. I think it's really important that we've taken it over. It took a little while extra because of the COVID time. Lockdown didn't make it very easy to go and pick up stuff, but we are now making sure that it's able to be available, all the books that they've put together, but also importantly the free downloads of all the different collections that they've made available that wouldn't maybe still locked up in a library somewhere. So if you're interested in that, what we're doing with that, it's www.highlandmusictrust.org, and we'd like to welcome you to that new website that we've put together.
Well, that's fantastic.
Depending on the weather.
So I suppose my most important question is, as it's the 20th anniversary of the Trad Awards, and in recent years we've had some amazing anniversaries of the TMSA too, how are you going to celebrate our 20th?
Well, we're still coming along, which is important. We've got our AGM beforehand. We take that opportunity. I think we'll come along and, as usual, want to support. We'll yell and cheer and enjoy the music and the dance and the crack, you might say. There's a lot of that. It's one of those great events of the year, and I think it's going to be even more special because even though you've been able to run certain elements of it last year, it's not been the same to be able to bring everyone all in the same room and meet and greet. I know some people will still not be in a position to come and attend, but I presume we're going live on television at some point so people can join in the atmosphere hopefully that way as well, including, as usual, I do a call out to my family. I don't know if it always helps at the time, but anyway. So I think the fact that it's still going, still kept them going is always a testament to your work and everyone else who puts the effort in. So, and I might give a shout out to Percy, she who is very strong stalwart for you, and also of course obviously I think it's a great celebration of this. This is not the only thing that Hands Up for Trad do. You know, there's a lot of other good things, like, you know, started the Speak Gaelic Week, and so there's almost too many to list, Simon.
I know. Well, listen, Fiona, that's amazing. Well, thanks very much. And again, tmsa.scot. Go and check out, there's loads of brilliant stuff on that website. And if you want to find out more about the Scots Trad Music Awards, go to scotstradmusicawards.com. So thanks, Fiona, and I'll see you later.
Okay, thanks. Bye.